Get set, because today we're actually going to take 3 stories and just wrap them up in a nice little package, tie a bow on them, and hand deliver them to you in one little video with my face on it. I'm Adam Andrews with InformOverload, and let's jump on in. First things first, I don't know if any of you have seen this clip floating around TikTok, but back in 2020, Pete Davidson got a really good jab in on Ariana Grande in one of his live shows, and for some reason, it's gaining traction almost 3 years later. So, back in 2020, Pete had his Netflix special, Pete Davidson Alive from New York, and during the special he spoke about comments his ex, Ariana Grande, made in a 2019 Vogue interview. Now during the interview she said, quote, "I met Pete and it was an amazing distraction. It was frivolous and fun and insane and highly unrealistic, and I loved him, and I didn't know him." The two started dating in May of 2018 and kind of prematurely, in my opinion, had a 5-month-long engagement. Obviously they broke up. Now Pete didn't mention it much, but after hearing about the things she said to Vogue from a friend of his, he decided a clapback was in order. Obviously, it's way funnier coming out of the man himself, so go watch the clip if you haven't, but this is how it went. Pete said, quote, "So now I just think it's like fair game." And you're like, "Pete, this isn't fair. You're like airing out your dirty laundry. How could you do that? Why did she say this stuff? To her friends in the confidence of her own home?" No, she said it on the cover of Vogue magazine. Can you imagine if I did that? My career would be over tomorrow. If I spray painted myself brown and hopped on the cover of Vogue magazine and just started on my ex. Now you probably know about this too, but Pete is referencing the fact that Vogue and Ariana Grande came under scrutiny for seemingly darkening her skin by a significant amount for the cover of the magazine. The flabbergasted reactions from the crowd made the joke just that much better, as I don't believe they were expecting such a ruthless joke from the comedian. It did get a bit of a chuckle out of me, I'm not gonna lie, and Pete made sure to reiterate that it was just a joke, but you could tell there was this like slight stinging feeling underneath, and honestly, yeah, I'd be bothered if my ex said that about me too. But hey, it's kind of old news now. The clip itself has been circulating on TikTok. I actually just saw it last night for the first time. Did you see the clip? Alright, for our second story, we're talking about an article by the Washington Post that came out yesterday, December 6th. And it's all about the Prince Harry and Meghan Markle docuseries that seeks to explain their split from the rest of the royal family from their own perspective. In the USA, where they now live, the couple are actually pretty well received and well liked, but this isn't necessarily the case back in the UK. Obviously, in the UK, there is a bigger showing of support for the royal family itself. Not unanimously or anything, but they definitely have a bigger fan base, which means that many people, including tabloids and members of the press, had a rather unsavory view of the couple. For example, Piers Morgan, a longtime critic of Meghan, wrote on Monday, "Another day, another nauseatingly self-serving, whiny trailer from the royal renegades Meghan and Harry for their upcoming Netflix trash-a-thon of their own family." Essentially, the article from the Washington Post is all about the docuseries and most of the efforts of Meghan and Harry seemingly trying to gain control of their own narrative. Now this kind of thing is actually pretty commonplace for the royal family. Controlling the narrative that is put out about them, whether it's interviews with sympathetic reporters, cooperating on biographies, and just having a firm grip on what their image is exactly. So it just seems that in an effort to rally their own supporters and to not be smeared by the royal family itself, they're just taking on new means to tell their own story. And it's not like this docuseries is the first time it's happened. At first, it was just about building their social media presence, but they have been doing podcasts, TV interviews like the one with Oprah, and they also have pursued lawsuits against British tabloids. It's smart, and they have honestly garnered a lot of support. If you watch interviews, particularly with younger Brits, the royal family itself isn't exactly the most popular. This docuseries is being put up in part thanks to the couple's very own production company, and they are supplying never-before-seen footage and pictures. So, of course, they do have some control over what is being said here. But some people are set on poking holes in the couple's story, calling out pictures that were featured in the trailer for the series about the truth and their relationship that were taken before the relationship even began. And a lot of tabloids have put out headlines that honestly seem kind of petty and butthurt. The Times of London ran a front-page headline on Tuesday that said, "Prince Harry and Meghan have declared all-out war against the royal family." Another started their article with, quote, "Quick, nurse, pass the sick bag, the wokest couple in all the West is at it again." I don't know, it just seems just a little bit petty to me. Just a little bit out of pocket and kind of not necessary. Like you could just tell the truth, that's kind of their job, but hey, I work here. Honestly, this is what all members of the royal family do. It's all about image and public perception and efforts to control it. And that's been true for members of not just this royal family, but pretty much every royal family ever. The game of narrative control control is their bread and butter, but we can only know exactly what Harry and Meghan say is when the first 3 episodes of the docuseries come out on Netflix December 8th. And lastly for our video today, the Netflix hit show Wednesday is getting some backlash of its own. Reviews for the show that dropped November 23rd have been pretty positive, and mainly that's attributed to Jenna Ortega's performance as Wednesday Addams. It's also breaking records for the most watched TV show on Netflix in a single week, totaling 341.2 million hours, which beat out the previous record holder Stranger Things. But with the good, there is also the bad, and the show has been receiving a few negative reviews from critics and some on social media. The series and its executive producer Tim Burton are being accused mainly of racism, after it was noted that the few black actors that are actually in the show have been cast as only villains or bullies. All 3 of the show's main and recurring black actors, Joy Sunday, Iman Marson, and Tommy Earl Jenkins, have been cast as antagonistic characters, with Jenkins and Marson playing the father-son duo of Noble, a bully, and Lucas Walker, the incredibly shady and somewhat corrupt mayor of the town. And Joy Sunday is playing Bianca, the top popular mean girl student at Nevermore and a siren who uses her powers to get into Nevermore in the first place. On top of that, Lucas and Noble own a theme park and museum dedicated to the memory of pilgrims and colonizers, and that was also pointed out in the arguments against the show, with some claiming it to be ridiculous and nonsensical to have a black mayor praising genocidal colonizers and pilgrims. Some have said that the series creators, Alfred Goh and Miles Miller, seem to have wrote the characters as if they were white, but then placed black actors in the roles with no thought as to how their race might have impacted their beliefs and values. Obviously, these negative reviews have caused some bickering and controversy online. Obviously, casting a person of color as an antagonist is not itself racist, and the characters, particularly Bianca, do have more significant layers to them and growth in the show's storyline. But then again, Tim Burton himself has had a bit of history with racism, being accused of rarely ever casting minorities in his films in the first place, and the few times he has, they were also pretty much all cast as antagonistic roles. But really, the final say is up to the people. That's you guys. And we here at InformOverload would love to hear what exactly your opinion on this is down in the comments below. Actually, let's talk about everything down there. Did you find Pete Davidson's jokes funny? How did you feel about Harry, Meghan, and the royal family? Do you care about any of this at all? Well, let me know down in the comments below. For now though, I've been Adam Andrews with InformOverload. I'll catch you on the flippy flop. Peace out! Hey,